Everybody, welcome back to the channel. I ain't talked to y'all in a little while, but well, I'm gonna explain to y'all what's been going on. I ain't been filming very much lately, but our 2950, when we put the injectors and the injector pump on it and all that stuff, y'all seen that video. When I told you in that video that the knocking sound was the injectors knocking, that wasn't the sound. We put that new pump on it, put 6 new injectors in it, and it still knocks. We got it to run, but it still knocks. And I'm gonna show y'all. But these things right here, in the book they call them your rocker arms. But there was so much play in these things that they would just tap back into you. They just teeter-totter. Well, they ain't supposed to do that. They're supposed to be between 2 and 4 thousandths of play right there. Well, we adjusted it down to 8 thousandths because that's the smallest feeler gauge that we had. We changed the tune of the sound, and the sound got a little bit quieter, but that was still too much. There was 75 thousandths but there was between 70 and 50 thousandths of play in all of them. And they're supposed to be between 2 and 4 thousandths. Y'all probably can't hear me very good because the wind's blowing so hard. But anyway, today, what was that? Today we're gonna be pulling the head off of this engine. This engine is a John Deere. It's a 6359D John Deere engine. So we're gonna pull the head off of it. The head gasket's leaking a little bit. We're gonna put a new head gasket in it while we've got it apart. We're kind of racing against time right now because it's gonna rain Monday. We got to get the head off of it. Hopefully find we still don't know what's wrong with it. We think it's the exhaust valve on this, which is this exhaust valve on the number 1 cylinder. So we're gonna pull the head off of it, and we're hoping that there's something stuck up in that exhaust valve and the piston's hitting it. But why we think it's the exhaust valve is because when that exhaust valve is open, the piston makes a cycle while the exhaust valve is closed and while it's open. Well, when the valve is open to let the exhaust out, to let out the exhaust pipe, well, the piston comes up and pushes that exhaust out of that cylinder. Well, when the exhaust valve is open and that piston comes all the way up, you can hear it hitting. It's a metal on metal tapping sound. If I can remember, I'll play a clip of this thing running and the tapping sound, if I can remember. So we're going to pull the head off of this thing, and hopefully we find what's wrong with it. If we don't find what's wrong with it, then if everything looks good under there, what we're probably going to do after that is drop the oil pan and look up under it and see what's going on in there. We've got good oil pressure. We've checked that. We've got good oil pressure. All these things up here are oiling like they should be. So we don't know. Anyway, we're gonna pull the head off of it. I've said that a million times already. We're gonna take the head off, look at the top of the pistons real good, and flip the head over and look at the valves and make sure they all look good. It runs like a brand new one since we put them new injectors in it, but it just makes that tapping, that ticking, knocking, tapping, whatever you want to call it, sound when it's running. You can hear the sound coming from the injectors. You can hear the sound coming from the number 1 on the top of that supply fuel pump. You can listen all on the side of the engine, all over the place, and you can't hear it. And you can listen right there beside that exhaust valve, and when that valve is down and that piston comes up, you can hear it. So we're thinking that somehow or another that exhaust valve and that piston is making contact, hitting each other. You can rev this thing up, and it sounds like it's just eating itself on the inside. So, well, I'll quit boring y'all talking about it, and let's get something done. Let's figure out what the mystery is wrong with this tractor. I got the exhaust manifold off. Y'all look, y'all can just see that exhaust valve in there. I noticed that this one looks a little bit more oily than the rest of them. Well, I'm doing that part. Well, I think now we're ready to take these bolts out. And then from right here up will come off. Well, let's get on. That's the problem. The piston's been hitting the valves. Finally found the problem. Got it all covered up so the weather don't do any more damage it's already done. Well, we think either the piston was hitting the valves or the valves were going down too far and hitting the piston. So it's either the piston or the valves that was the problem. But we don't know if it's the piston yet because we ain't took the bottom off it to look up under it. We'll do that later. Well, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.